Good evening and welcome to the State of the Nation. My name is Ayolua Joshua and you're watching us live on Aspherictv. And today our guest is Judge Moghalu, the MD NIWA, and he will be discussing the achievements in the Nigerian Inland Waterways Authority and the way forward. And our viewers can join us in this conversation through our social media handles on Facebook at official Asperic News, on Twitter at Asperic News, on Instagram at Asperic.news, on YouTube Asperic TV. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel for more programs. Also, you can send us SMS, just like I said earlier, in case you want to ask the MDN equation. You can do that on 08099990549. Once again, 08099990549. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Ayolua. Thank you.
How are you doing today? I said, how are you doing today? We thank you for the time to join us on the program. Can you hear me?
It could be better though.
Okay. Now, tell us what NIWA is all about and what the core purpose of NIWA is.
Let me first of all thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. Not everybody knows what NIWA is. NIWA is the National Inland Waterways Authority.
Yes.
And that manage the waterways.
Okay. Tell us what the regulatory service of NIWA is.
That's principally what we are. Yes.
Sorry, we lost the signal there, but before it comes back on, you can also join our conversation.
The various vessels that meet up with the standard, we ensure that the rules are kept, that define operating it are qualified, people who are qualified to operate it, and we make sure that the rules are kept. Rules like that of wearing the protective gear, that is life jackets, making sure that vessels leave the jetties at the appointed time, and in this making sure that everybody obeys the protocols that have been put in place by the government. Protocols like making sure that hands are washed, ensuring that acceptable distances are maintained, and then the masks are worn to make sure that we do what we're supposed to do at this critical time.
Okay. Can you tell us about the marine aspect of NIWA?
Like the name says, we are in charge of the inland waterways. Our mandate is very clear. It has to do with the inland waterways. That is the marine aspect of it. We are in absolute control of the inland waterways. We ensure that the rules are kept. We ensure that the waterways are all year navigable. Like you may wish to know, we have about 10,000 kilometers of waterways in Nigeria that passes through about 26 states of the country. Okay, but as we speak, it's about 3,600 up thereabout that is all year navigable. So it's part of our responsibility to ensure that all these routes are all year round navigable so that we can put into proper use the inland waterways. Because we believe, we in NIWA, we believe very strongly that an effective all year round navigable waterway has a very strong role to play in helping in rebuilding the economy. For example, keep talking about the congestions we have in Lagos with regards to moving goods out of Papa, the seaport. But we believe very strongly that if we take advantage of our waterways, that a good percentage of these goods that come straight to our port can also get to the hinterland using our waterways. The only thing we need to do is to ensure that it's all year navigable, to ensure that the routes are clean and clear, devoid of wrecks, devoid of pirates and whatever, and addressing the security challenges. But we very, very strongly that in our marine aspect is a key aspect of this agency, and we are expected to play a very strong role in supporting the economy.
Okay. From our understanding, NIWA is also into survey. What can you tell us about the survey aspect of NIWA?
Yes, yes, we have a very strong survey department, and surveying is also part of it because you have to survey the routes before you can think of putting the navigational aids. Okay, for example, you want to buoy a route, there must be survey. You want to know the depth and the depth of any route. You must also do the routine survey to be able to know where will be dredged, where should not be dredged, to determine the depth. So survey is a component part of our agency, and we have a department that is designated to handle such responsibilities. So we have a strong department of survey.
Talking about the survey, we could see somehow that there's bit of some feeling of the waterway. Do you think that will undermine the flow of waterways, or do you think it will also affect the level of which the water is supposed to expanded?
That the waterway is not static. Silt moves, and it moves as areas get silted. What that means is that it reduces the navigability of such routes, and that is why you have what you call dredging. That is why dredging, you find situations where you said you do capital dredging, which involves quite a lot of money, which takes quite a lot of time. At times, for us now, we are looking more at maintenance dredging. What that implies is that as the survey report comes out, we now determine the depths of the navigable routes we want to take care of or that are constantly used. So through the maintenance process, through dredging, maintenance dredging, we intend to start doing. You keep dredging on a regular basis so that you can make those routes all year navigable, depending on the draft you want to achieve. Because without that, you're going to run into trouble because silt is a process. Silt, it comes, it moves. So it moves from point A to point B. And as silt moves, it silts the route. And if you don't survey, you won't know this challenge. You won't be able to determine this challenge. And when these challenges are determined, the next thing you do is to think about how to dredge. Within the limits of available resources, you can now do limited dredging, being specific in terms of addressing the specific needs to make sure that the routes you want to handle are all year navigable.
Now, if NIWA wants to establish a new, let's say, artificial seaport, how long will it take to achieve such projects, and what are the procedures to do that?
It's not about anything artificial. I'm going to address the issue based on the perspective that as we speak now, the Onitsha River Port is completed. As we speak, the Baro River Port is completed. The Lokoja River Port is ongoing. The Uguta River Port is ongoing. So it's not about anything artificial. It's about practical work. But the basic fact when you're talking about port, river port, is one, you identify the issue of its viability. Apart from that, then look at the resources. You require quite a lot of money to build a port. So if the resources are available, that is it now determines the timing. If the money is kept, then the issue of timing can be easily addressed. But you cannot talk about how long will it take to build a port when you don't even have the resources. It's a question of, if you have the resources on ground, you can finish a port in 1 year. You can start and finish a river port in 1 year. If the resources, you just start there. But in this instance, you have to work with available resources. And that's why some ports can stay 10 years, can stay 15 years, can stay 20 years. All is a consequence of how much is available at any given time that you can invest in developing a port.
Okay. Now, what is the transportation aspect of NIWA? Because I understand, I went through the NIWA website and I saw all the things NIWA is involved in. So, I want you to tell us a little about the transportation aspect of NIWA.
Like I've always said, even from the first day I was appointed to this office, I've always said that my mission, I want to be remembered by the time I finish my tenure as somebody who did his best to ensure that water transportation becomes the transport means of choice for the movement of both bulk cargo, light cargo, and then personnel. That is my ambition. You see, river transportation has a lot to do for us. Like I said earlier, if we have viable water transportation system, the pressure our roads suffer today will be removed. Because, for example, if you have 1,000 containers coming from the seaport in Lagos to Onitsha, for example, what that translates to is 1,000 trailers on our roads. And you find out that our roads are not designed to carry this kind of weight. But if the river ports are optimal in terms of performance, in terms of functionality, then what that means is that these containers can be moved by barges. You move them from Lagos port and deliver them at Onitsha River port by barges. You can deliver them at Tuguta River port by barges. You can even take them to Port Harcourt by barges, Warri, Olokoja, Baro, all these areas by barges. And when you do that, you have removed this pressure on our roads. Okay. Apart from that, also, our inland waterways can be so developed that it becomes a tourist attraction. And one beautiful thing about it is that as you develop these river ports, as you develop jetties along the line where they are going to stop, those communities will start benefiting. They will start translating to viable communities. Some of them will become towns in no distant future. Because the moment a river port or a jetty, a big jetty, is daily functional, other businesses will certainly develop around it. Because the moment a port is functioning, for example, by the time we finish the Lokoja River port now, and it becomes functional, you will see other businesses growing around the port area. That's exactly what is going to happen in Baro. By the time it starts working, the same thing will happen in Uguta by the time it starts working. The same thing in Onitsha. Properties, developments will now start springing up. Other businesses that are related to marine businesses will now start springing up. And then by the time you develop stop points along these jetties, along the river, along the coastlines, you will find that new cities will start developing. New businesses will start growing, creating employment opportunities for our people. So there's quite a lot that has to do with transportation when you talk about inland waterways.
All right. Now, talking about the jetty, you made mention of that, and I think that would be very important in achieving a lot in this area. So what is NIWA doing as regards, is there any plans for jetties in some communities where rivers flow through?
Oh yes, before I came to office, they had built some jetties, and since I came, some new jetties are coming up now. Like as I speak, the new jetty in Odegbe is ready for commissioning. Uyenegoa 1 and 2 is ready. In our last procurement, there's one also. We are building now somewhere in Abeokuta, in Ogun State, a new Mosimi, around that area. A new jetty is being constructed as we speak now. Okay, in 2019. We're able to renovate our jetty in Lagos. One of our jetties in Lagos we have quite a number in Lagos. So we're building jetties. We're even in this 2020 procurement, bearing the challenge we're having with regards to funding, we also have plans to develop new jetties. The last time I was unofficial visit to the southeast, I visited a community in a land, and I found out that there was absolute need for a jetty because the volume of agri products that they generate there and the challenge they have in transporting them to Onitsha was a big challenge. And the only way we can address that, for example, is that getting them a jetty that they can use as a batting point so that they can be able to move the agricultural products from their community down to Onitsha, where it can now be distributed to the other parts of the country. So we are doing some jetties, and then once we have resources, once we have funding, there's no way we will not do more jetties, because you need jetties even for passenger usage. Like we are looking at also one in Makurdi, Benue State.
Now, NIWA is also related to engineering, I believe, because it has to do with a lot when it comes to engineering. So tell us a little about the engineering aspect of NIWA.
We have a very strong engineering department. The truth about it is that you can't do jetties, you can't think of building ports, you can't think of building anything without having taken into account the engineering component of it. Okay, the engineering design, the actual construction, these are all engineering aspects. NIWA, we have a strong engineering department in NIWA, and they are living up to expectation.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Now, is NIWA in partnership with other agencies and international organizations or governments?
Yes, we have a strong relationship. First of all, we are within the transport sector, within the Ministry of Transportation. There are other marine related agencies like the MASA, agencies like MP, organizations or departments that we interrelate. We have a strong relationship, we have contact, we have forums where we meet both as chief executive and as organizations. So we have a relationship. That is within the country. Outside the country, we also have relationships.
And how has the relationship been so far?
Oh, wonderful. It's been good. It's a matter of getting better by the day. We keep understanding ourselves the more. It creates those opportunities to resolve issues that may arise or the ones that have arisen before. We resolve them. That is the essence of why we have to be interrelated, because we are working for the same government.
All right, thank you very much. Now let's talk about the project achieved by NIWA. Which ones? I know you made mention of some, but for the good of those who are watching us right now, what are the inland projects achieved by NIWA? Which ones are yet to commence, and how has this achievement led to job creation for citizens?
No, we've done quite a lot for ourselves as an agency. We've done quite a lot. Within using the limited resources available to us. Like I mentioned to you, we have been able to build new jetties. We are also, in the course of the Moghalu River port, is receiving attention. The federal government has just released, just approved a review of the contractual value, and then the work is about to start again on the river, on the Moghalu River port. We have entered into the discussions both with the contractor and with funding partners for us to be able to address the issue of Uguta River port. Apart from that, we have signed an MOU with Nupeng on the possibility of bulk transporting of petroleum products through the waterways. We have also signed a memorandum of understanding. In fact, we have started implementing it with a company that will be supplying life jackets to all our jetties, life jackets to all passengers that will be operating in and out of our jetty, so that we ensure that our safety standard is very high. We have also developed a policy on training of boat operators using the institute we are developing in Warri, so that before you now operate a vessel, you must be licensed to do that. You must have the permit before you can be allowed to now operate a vessel. So we've done quite a lot. Okay, within the office itself, We are we are working on the morale of our people. I'm only very grateful to God that the management I met, they have keyed into my vision, because that vision of making transportation, water transportation, the transport means of choice, we are agreeable on that, and they have come to see my commitment to that, and we are doing everything to actualize that. In terms of training, we are we are very concerned about it. We're making sure that staff are not being properly trained, even in this era. This pandemic also to address the challenges. So we've done quite a lot in in NIWA. We have excuse me, we have procured some vessels with some dredgers that is being awaited. A few days back we went to see our houseboats that have been completed. Very soon we're going to deploy them. So a lot is going on in NIWA. We are trying to be who we are. We're trying to justify the investment of government in this agency.
All right. So now, in terms of securing everything NIWA is doing, what technique of security is NIWA employing into protecting and ensuring that everything they are doing is well protected?
Yes, what we must understand too now is that NIWA as an institution, as an organization, has a police unit being manned by or being headed by a deputy commissioner of police as we speak. And we as an organization, we're doing everything to provide all the needed logistics and support. Let me use this opportunity to thank the Inspector General of Police and the police hierarchy for the support we have received from them. We're very, very grateful, because for the inland waterway to be very viable, there's actually the need to ensure security of lives and property on the waterways, and that is a great concern. I'm also going to engage the Navy, making effort to reach the Chief of Naval Staff to also discuss this issue and solicit for their support. But so far, so good. The security agencies, the Navy, the police, the Army, everybody is concerned, and they're giving us the needed support. So far, so good. We have to improve on what we're doing to ensure that we have all year-round security on our waterways, because it's a fundamental aspect of what we want to do, because you cannot actualize your desire. You can't be able to do what you want to do without guaranteeing security of lives and property.
Okay. But are there any security challenges faced within that you are in the office?
Certainly there has to be challenge. The principal challenge every agency will have various minimum. So we need to think and generate funds internally, and that is where we're laying emphasis now, to work very hard to improve on our internally generated revenue so that we can be able to do the few things we intend to do in this year, 2020, despite the challenge we're having with the pandemic. But be that as it may, that is one challenge that is not peculiar to NIWA. It's a universal challenge because with the coming of COVID, which nobody knew will happen, it has affected the revenue generating potential of the country, and certainly has to rub off on agencies inclusive. Apart from that, also, like I mentioned earlier, the challenge also addressing. I hear one of the people within people have come to know NIWA now. People are beginning to know us more than they did before. People are beginning to understand their responsibility to NIWA and things like that. So apart there are the the challenges are there, certainly it's our data.
Oh, all right. Now, from what we discovered, there was an headline I saw that said, you said access roads stopped the Barrow Port project from commencing. So I don't know how recent is that news, that headline, but as the Barrow project started, and how far has it gone now?
Well, the Barrow project is ongoing. The Barrow road project is ongoing. But as to the port has long been completed and commissioned by Mr. President. It's been in the news, it's been completed and commissioned. The road is ongoing. A few days back, I had an engagement with the governor of the state, who expressed also his commitment and did see that the police, they are also looking at the
While we still wait for the MD to join us back, in case you have your questions and you want to ask the MD, you can do that by sending your message to 08099990549. Sir, what you said, we didn't hear you well because the network, the signal broke off. So if you can please say that again for the purpose of the listeners to be able to hear what you said. We didn't hear you clearly.
okay, what I said as to the port owner of the state, who is from every intent and purpose is determined to see that the seaport, the river port becomes functional. He's committed to it, and they're also looking at the possibility of the state government addressing one of the roads that leads to Barrow. So there's every effort from all sides to ensure that the road to Barrow River Port is only a motorway. Federal government is doing something. The state government is determined also.
Okay. We also saw on the news that NIWA shut down operation of boat owners for violating safety regulations. Has that been settled? And what is NIWA doing to ensure strict adherence to the safety rules? Did you hear what I said?
Lagos at the waterways.
Can you hear me? While we still wait for the signal is somehow this evening, but while we still wait for the MD to join us back, we were discussing about the achievements in NIWA and the way forward for other things. So you can also always join us on this program on our social media handles, which are scrolling across the screen. Welcome back. You were saying something about the shutdown of operation.
We're actually having serious challenges with regards to the internet.
But we can still do with that. So you were saying something about the question I asked you concerning shutting down both operators for violating safety regulations. I said, has that been settled, and what is NIWA doing to ensure adherence to the safety rules?
No, we are using our police to enforce it. We have made that very clear. If you have to operate on the waterways, you must going to withdraw a license. If you have license, if you don't have license, we ban you from operating on our waterways. If you are the operator, the operator of the vessel, you also have a responsibility. There are laid down rules which we are not ready to compromise. Rules that has to do with following the COVID-19 protocol, life jackets and what have you, operating within the times are applicable, because you're not authorized to be on our waterway after 6 p.m. But you find that people now will just take boats that are not certified, that have no night navigational aids, and then carry people and endanger their lives and move on the waterways some by 8 p.m. It's not acceptable, and we're not accepting.
Now, talking about
so there are rules that must be obeyed if you want to operate on the inland waterways.
Okay. Now, talking about the license. So, like when somebody wants to go into such line of business, what are the procedures to get license from NIWA?
No, you apply. You write us. You apply to NIWA. That's what you want to do. If we have to come and inspect the data, if we are not satisfied with that, we send you to our operators, but we are going to take that is certain. We are going to certify the vessels. There's a process to go. So the first thing you have to do is to write us indicating your interest and what you want to do, and then give you.
Okay. Now, if we are to say we are talking about NIWA, but what is NIWA giving carrying out any form of training in form of institution that people can enroll in to acquire knowledge or skills from NIWA?
Yes, I said that earlier that we have a unit, we have a training point in Mori, where if you want to enroll, we enroll you and then train you. And we have very strong enlightenment. For example, some of these accidents you see happening today on the water is a consequence of overloading, moving at the wrong time, using the wrong boat, passing trying to carry 10 people, carrying 30, carrying 40. So what do you expect? You're just causing disaster. And that is what we find happening. Vessels that are not designed to operate in the night, and then you see somebody wanting to operate by 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. These are wrong things to do. Excuse me. so that is a difficulty we have. But we keep doing what we're supposed to do. We keep bringing people to taking necessary action, obey the rule.
Okay. What are the challenges faced by NIWA in terms of funding, amongst others?
In terms of what?
In terms of funding, amongst others, what are the challenges faced by NIWA in terms of funding, amongst others?
But I said that when we talked about that challenge, I said it's one of the biggest challenges we have. It's the biggest challenge we have because what we want to do, we have quite a lot of programs we have lined out, but we require money to be able to do them. But what we're doing now is that we're working hard to improve on our IGR, our internal generated revenue, because everybody is aware, it's not peculiar to NIWA, that the resources available to government now is not as much as it used to be. There was a time oil sold for $120 in this country. Now, how much is oil selling for? There's a time we were producing over 2 million barrels a day. Now, what quantity are we producing? Because you and I know that we are a monoproduct economy. Unfortunately, this government has come with a vision to expand the base of the economy by diversification. Today, we're talking about money from other sources like mines and power, solid minerals and water, agriculture and things like that. So we thank God that with the vision of the government that new revenue strands are being explored and then bringing resources to government. Otherwise, there's a challenge that is applicable to everybody. It's not peculiar to NIWA. And that has to do with how much government is willing to give to the operating agencies. That is why today in NIWA, the management is emphasizing the need for us to grow our IGR, our internal generated revenue. We're making strong effort to make sure we increase it so that we can be able to address some of our needs, some of our challenges without going to look for money from outside.
All right. So what do you think can be done to end the issue of funding? Because we understand now that the COVID-19 has slowed down the economy, not just in Nigeria, but across the world.
You don't need to belabor it. The truth about it is that that's why I said that all of us, just like other agencies, are looking inwards. Every attention now is what do we do to increase our IGR? And that is what we're doing. And there's improvement because the actions we are taking is yielding results. And we need to sustain it and want to sustain it. So that at the end of the year, we'll be able to look at where we were before, where we are now, where we desire to be in the years ahead.
What innovations have you brought to the agency, and how has that shaped the agency?
You said what?
I said, since assuming the office or as the MD of NIWA, what innovations have you brought to the agency, and how has that shaped the agency?
A lot has been done. A lot has been done. The important thing here is that I want to publicly acknowledge that I have and the cooperation of my colleagues, the members of the executive management, and then we're working together, putting heads together to I don't want to, and it's against my own personal policy, to make claims as to what I have done as a president, achieve in NIWA, able to cover. And I've listed them out to you when I spoke earlier on where we were before I came, where we are today, and where we want to be at the end of the day. And I told you in very straight language that we desire as a team that in the shortest possible time, to make water transportation, inland water transportation, the transport means of choice, both for bulk cargo and for individuals.
All right, thank you very much. Now let's talk a little bit about the economy and how NIWA is helping in boosting the economy. Talking about the country's economic state right now, how is NIWA planning in order to help boosting the country's economy?
Yes, like I said earlier, that's exactly what we are doing. We are trying to play our role, we are trying to contribute to make sure that we help in rebuilding our economy. And we want to improve inland water transportation. By the time we open up and make all our waterways navigable, by the time barges start coming from Lagos to places like Onitsha, places like Lokoja, places like Ubuta, places like Baro, and things like that, you can imagine the level of business that we're going to draw through that sector. You can imagine the number of people that are going to be engaged. You can imagine the impact it's going to have on the economy. But in the immediate sense, what we have done to encourage additional participation, to improve our IGR, and help people cushion the challenges, we cut our tariff by 25%. That is the first thing we did in our support of the federal government in this period of COVID-19, making sure that all the projects we started, that they are all completed, because once they are completed and put into active use, they have a role to play in helping in building the economies of their immediate environment. The new jetties we are putting in place, make sure that they are completed and functional. Excuse me. Once we are repairing them and making sure that things are working in tandem. And with that, we are making serious contribution to the growth of the economy.
Okay, and now besides the waterways and the ports, is NIWA into partnership in doing other businesses that is not related with the waterways?
No, certainly no. We are partnering with people to do businesses that has to do with water, in line with our core mandate. We can't go out of our mandate to go and look for businesses to do. We're not a trading company. Everything we are doing, the PPPs we are discussing with, agencies we are talking to, individuals we are talking to, business we are talking to, are all related to inland development of the inland waterways. Anything short of that is not part of our mandate.
Okay. Now, there was a recent crisis that led to the loss of lives caused by boat ferries. What is NIWA doing to ensure the safety of boat ferries to avoid such tragedy?
I think I've said this earlier. That what we are doing now is to continue our enlightenment programs, getting people to understand what they are supposed to do and what they're not supposed to when it has to do with water transportation. We are improving on that. We'll continue to sustain it until people get to understand, because a good number of the casualties we have received is a consequence of outright refusal to obey the laid out rules. For example, there is a standard that you cannot use any of our jetties or operate on our water without being your boats without in this era with or washing your hands at the jetty point before you board the vessels. These are clear out rules. We have also made it as a policy that you can't operate any of those. Every vessel has a capacity. And in this area, we're saying you cannot exceed 60% of your approved capacity. But now you still find people who, apart from the fact they're not even supposed to meet up their capacity, they will go to the extent of overloading their vessels and then carry passengers for them to go and expose them to unnecessary danger, avoidable danger. It's unacceptable to us. And we have made every effort to get people to understand this, and we'll continue to do it until people come to terms with the reality of the moment, that you cannot just break the rules. And that is why there are consequences, there are punishments we met out to people who deliberately break the rules.
All right, before we go, let me quickly ask a question from somebody on YouTube who sent in a question. He said, what does it take for someone new to the water to be involved?
You write us, you first of all write us, indicate your interest and the area you want to get involved. Some people may want to get involved in passenger transportation, cargo transportation. So we need to know what you want to do. Some people also may want to be trained on how to operate vessels. We also would like to know. Some people may want also to help them provide partners to partner with them as a business. You just need to write us. Let us know what you want to do. Then based on the information we have received from you, we now ask questions and then lead you right.
All right, thank you very much for having you on the program. We hope to meet to talk about this some other time with you again.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
All right.